Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is sufficiency. What would it look like if we were enough just by virtue of our being? If we didn't have to prove ourselves, prove our worth, that if we were worthy just by virtue of the fact that we are alive. I think this is a really rich and important topic, and we had started to visit it on another day where we had some technical difficulties. So we're revisiting it now. And actually, we could revisit it every day because it's one of the most important transformations that we as humanity need to undergo in order to create the world we desire. So at least that's my hypothesis of the moment. Anyway, before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present. Good morning, Rosalind. So glad to have you here with us this morning. So and to everybody else who's joining us, welcome. Let's take a minute to get present. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding into your lungs, flowing into your bloodstream, nourishing all your cells, all your organs, bringing vital life energy to your body and being. And as you exhale any tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light, lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, energizing all your cells and your molecules, your electrons, creating this brilliant beam of light from your heart out into the world. And as you exhale any remaining tension, stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's just gently press our palms together. Softly, softly, softly rub your fingers against your palms to feel the deliciousness of that sensation, to allow yourselves to become present to this remarkable physical form that enables you to experience life. And welcome. So this is one of my favorite topics, and I'm teasing it out in all kinds of ways. This notion of sufficiency. So many of us experience life from a vantage point of being not good enough. And that begs the question, good enough for what, right? But many of us experience being unworthy, or less than somebody else, or less than a notion of what we believe we should be, or how we believe we should measure up. And we are in a state of constant comparison, comparing ourselves to others, comparing our achievements, comparing our possessions, comparing. And I think that this whole notion of worthiness and sufficiency, we can never truly achieve worthiness or sufficiency if we measure ourselves based on externalities. There's never going to be enough. And as we look at that notion that there's always going to be somebody that has more, or that is more in our assessment, right? Somebody that's better at something. And if we are measuring our own worthiness based on performance or comparison, there's always somebody that is going to have more, be better at a certain thing than us, right? And then to measure our worth based upon that comparison, it's crazy. It's really crazy. If we look at nature, and we, like one of the things that I'm up to here is calling out a lot of the fundamental assumptions that we make that are insane. Like, we are living in an insane world with really insane and skewed values in so many ways. And we just take for granted that that's how things are. So we don't even think to question some of these things. And this is one of those fundamental things that we don't question. Rosalind says sufficiency, same as sustainability, as in shelter and safety or caring for our bodies, or how we contribute our part to the tribe. So I think that this notion of sufficiency is at the core of sustainability and thrivability, frankly. But I think we get to tease it out a bit to see how that relates. And it very much connects to this notion of more and better, and more being better, bigger, better, all those words that we are so used to putting together, faster, better, more. We are, good morning, Lisa, welcome, so good to have you here with us. And by the way, if you guys are putting in comments and I'm not responding to them, please know it's not that I'm ignoring you, it's that I don't see your comments. So if you want to participate in this conversation, please go to the Enlightened World Network Facebook page and put your comments in there, because that's where I'll see them. Or you can go to the Enlightened World Network YouTube channel. So anyway, this notion of sufficiency. So good morning, Kimberly, welcome. So good to have you here with us. We're talking about this notion of sufficiency, and I think that this is a worthy topic to be diving into in great depth, maybe even beyond today. And it's not that we haven't addressed it before, but it's so rich and it's so profound. What our culture teaches us is that we need to be worthy. I remember a friend years ago I had, who was talking about this other person and just saying that person's a waste of air. And I was just appalled. So here's the thing, in nature, nothing has to prove its worthiness to be. It is just part of being, right? By virtue of its being here, it is what it is, and it is worthy to be here. It's human beings who determine that one species is more worthy than another, or one human is more worthy than another. That we're the ones that are attributing value, right? Nature has its own system of sorting, but all of it is part of a greater whole, and every piece of it contributes to that whole, right? So what would be different? And this is a really important thought exercise. And it's not just a thought exercise. This is something that we get to look at how we might implement in our lives. What if, just by virtue of being here, I were worthy? What if I don't have to prove myself to anyone or anything in order to be worthy of being here? Our systems aren't really set up to support that. So I acknowledge that, but that doesn't mean that we can't make these shifts to varying degrees internally. And so if I didn't have to prove anything, if I were worthy just by virtue of my being, what kinds of choices might I make that are different from the choices I currently make? So many of us dictate our choices and big portions of our lives based upon what we believe others believe we should do or be, or certain ways that we should behave, right? Like, I can't speak out because what, what other people might think of me. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't social consequences. The way that things exist currently, there are definitely social consequences and social norms. And I'm not saying that we get to pretend they don't exist, because they do. However, if we were motivated internally by our passions, our joy, our convictions, our perceptions, our experience and desire for discovery, for engagement, if we weren't so busy proving ourselves, what might be different in our consumer behaviors? If I don't have to look a certain way in order to gain your approval, because I am already approving of myself, what might be different? If I didn't have to have more stuff to impress you with, if I didn't have to wear a different outfit to work every day, if I didn't have to, none of these are have tos, right? But these are things that we kind of assume. If I didn't have to measure my value by the things that I have or the things that I've accomplished. Like I was in sales for years and years, and you're only as good as your next sale. That's where your value comes in. How much money are you making? How many sales are you making? That's how you were ranked. That's how your value was assessed. What if we are intrinsically worthy? What's different? What would be different? What would be different in your behavior? What would be different in your choices? Rosalind says the something that feels like it's missing is often filled based on an external circumstance. 100%, Rosalind. So we are so acclimated to externalities, right? And I feel rotten today, so I'm going to go have some retail therapy. I'm going to go buy stuff, and that's going to make me feel better, right? And to your point, Rosalind continues, consumerism provides a momentary fulfillment, right? Retail therapy, and that's okay. I'm going to go buy something that'll make me feel better. Your work at Core Connection is the excavation to uncover your values. And, that's true in a big way, Rosalind, that the work is to uncover our values, but more so, the work is to uncover our value. In other words, to be connected to our own intrinsic value. And when we recognize that we are worthy, that we have our own intrinsic value, then we can recognize that it's okay to sing our soul song. In fact, that's what we're here for. Rosalind says these morning musings help uncover what our values are. So thank you. Thank you for that acknowledgement, Rosalind. I really appreciate that. And I think that we get to be living based on values that are our own, that each of us has come here with a unique song to sing, with a unique mission, if you want to call it that. And when we accept our own values, so this is the thing, we have so often externalized our need for validation, right? We've externalized it to things. Wow, look at the car you drive, look at the home you own, look at the furniture or the clothes you wear, that's how we assess our value or the value of others, rather than having an assumption that we each have this value. What would be different in our relationships with each other? What kind of respect might we have for one another that's different if we assumed value rather than that we have to prove your value, that you have to be worthy of respect? What does that mean? What if we inherently were worthy of respect? So Kimberly says, I have had to deal with this with my family for so many years. We only accept you if you're doing this. So conditional love and acceptance, this is what we have been conditioned to. You have to be worthy. You have to toe the line in order to be accepted. You have to perform in a certain way in order to be approved of. Otherwise, you get the scorn and disapproval. So Kimberly continues, it has brought so much torture to my soul. I'm finally getting to love myself without accepting their opinions. Yes, this is a really big deal. We are conditioned to be unacceptable, right? And if we are unacceptable, this is something in ourselves that we cannot accept who we are. If we can't accept who we are, if we're not acceptable based on other people's circumstances, we often try and turn ourselves inside out as pretzels to achieve some kind of acceptability, some kind of social inclusion, right? And I understand this. I mean, for most of my life, I was very much an outsider. And it's only very recently, in the past 10, 15 years or so, maybe, that I have become more able to be more fully expressed. And that's coming more and more, to be willing to let my own freak flag fly, so to speak, right? We all have that. And we're often playing a game to not let anybody see, how weird we are or whatever, where that weirdness is maybe the gift that we bring to be able to share in the world, right? So Rosalind says, is this why in our lives we keep relearning the same life lessons because the values are not aligned with our ideas? I think that this is a really important question, Rosalind. And interestingly, I have developed a set of core connection cards. You can find them on my website at yourcoreconnection.com. And I believe it's /cards. There are 125 words. I'm looking to see if I have them here handy. I don't think I do. Wait a second, maybe I do. Here they are. So core connection cards. And I use them in my practice to support people in identifying their key values, their core values. So I just found this one. There are 125 words. It's not entirely comprehensive. I had started out with like over 500, but it was overwhelming and too costly to be able to produce them. But the core connection cards have been a really, really powerful tool to support people in identifying their core values. And so when we know what our core values are, then we can align our lives more directly with those values. That's part of our own unique blueprint, our own fingerprint, so to speak, that enables us to live a life in alignment with that soul song that we are. And when we move from a space of sufficiency and intrinsic worthiness, then we can give ourselves permission to express that uniqueness that we came here to express. And the world needs all of us. You know, it took me a lifetime to get to the place where I was willing to give myself permission to be me. And it's still, and it's a continual evolution. It's a continual discovery, you know, to recognize the spots where we are impeding ourselves, and to be releasing these sticking points, to enable ourselves to empower ourselves to be the light that we came here to shine. And sufficiency is at the root of that. You know, that we are sufficient, that we are worthy just by virtue of our being here, that we came here for something unique and important. And I see that this whole notion of inadequacy and not enoughness is what drives our crazy consumerism, and the whole notion of retail therapy. I'll go buy something and that'll make me feel better. Well, that's a hugely conditioned response. You know, we get all this kind of commercial messaging about how if you buy this personal care product, you know, you're gonna feel young and beautiful and wonderful, and you'll be attractive to others. And I mean, just craziness. Same thing with the car, you know, like all the car commercials, it's all about being sexy and being attractive and being successful, and, you know, all these values that we've been conditioned to believe we don't measure up to. You know, so these commercials are saying, here's the solution to the problem we've created of your inadequacy. You know, the messaging in so many of these things, the underlying messaging is something's wrong with you and we have the solution to fix it. Right? And as we look at the world, the more is better mentality is what is killing us and allowing us to kill the planet. You know, this more consumerism and this notion of bigger is better and more is better. And I have news for us, newsflash: more is not better. More is just more. And at a point, more is destruction. You know, that moderation is, and balance and interconnectedness is what works. You know, and so this comes into the whole idea of connection versus separation, that we are all interconnected and that all parts create the whole, and all parts are essential to the whole. And Lisa says, it's amazing how you get so caught up in what we're told that we sometimes don't even know how far from who we are we've traveled. 100%. Well, we are diverted from who we are at a very early age. You know, don't do that. Don't talk so loud. Children are seen and not heard. You know, all kinds of things that we're conditioned to that keep us from whatever that light is that we came here to express. Lisa says it takes getting back to, whoops, that was my green screen that just fell down. Now there's a brick wall kind of screen behind it. But anyway, we're unmasking, right? So Lisa says it takes getting back to yourself to notice. It's like, hello, I've missed you. And in fact, really, really, it is, it's not even hello, I've missed you, but hello, how wonderful to meet you, because we never knew who that was. And it's a process of discovery to be exploring this self that we are, that has been so profoundly inhibited, right? So Kimberly says less is more, I'm learning. Yes, and I think that in many respects less is more. And again, we've got that more mentality, like more is better. So if less is more, then still more is better, even though less is more. It's a it's a tricky web. It is a tricky web. And Rosalind says the something missing feeling can serve as an alarm clock to pay attention to what is underlying the strong emotions around fear, hurt, or loss. If feeling triggered, to try to fix it, what does a pause versus bypass look like? Whoo, Rosalind, deep questions. Okay, so something missing serves as an alarm clock to pay attention what's underlying these strong emotions around fear, hurt, or loss. And so if feeling triggered, to fix it, well, we don't like feeling uncomfortable, right? We don't like feeling what we call negative emotions. We don't like feeling hurt or sad or frightened. And so we try to disappear it. And bypass is, just immediately transforming that as like, okay, fear, I'm going to convert you to love and everything's going to be fine, rather than looking at what's the underlying motivator for that fear. And that can bring us more deeply into an experience of or a recognition of some of our ideas that might be leading us down a dark and a darkened path of separation, right? So pause is an opportunity for reflection. Bypass is, I don't like this emotion, I'm going to change it. Instead of using it as feedback and information, this is a way that our beingness communicates with ourselves, is through emotion. And there's an opportunity there. It's feedback. It's an opportunity to be going deeper potentially and discovering that part of ourselves that may have been disenfranchised. So Kimberly says, replying to Lisa Phillips, I love this. And Rosalind, backup wall. Yes, pretty funny, right? Backup wall. And, as we're unmasking parts of ourselves, there's more. So there's the one facade, and then there's another facade, and we get to keep unfolding that, right? So Rosalind says, maybe this is why midlife crisis is a thing. It may be that at midlife, we get to a place where we're secure enough in all the facades that we've created. We can look at all these things like midlife. A lot of people have come to the place where they've got the house, they've got the car, they've got the family, they've got the stuff, and the externalities that everybody said was going to bring them satisfaction and wholeness, and they still don't feel whole. So what's up with that? They've got the good job, they've got the income, they've got the bank account, and still they feel empty. What's up with that? And so it's typically midlife when people have those achievements, right? They've got the stuff, and the stuff doesn't cut it. And so we get to start learning these things and sharing these notions, I think, as a change in paradigm. Thank you, Lisa. Lisa likes the backup wall. um i I think that this is so essential and urgent that we start looking at how we relate to the world, and what the consequence has been of so many of these unquestioned assumptions. So I look forward to having more of this conversation with you, because I think it's fundamental, profound, and important for the transformation of humanity and our relationship with ourselves, each other, and this remarkable planet we live on. Thank you so much, Rosalind. You're so sweet. So that's it for this morning. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection. And I go live here on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. And good morning, Dido. Thank you so much for being here. Kimberly says, thank you. I always leave with a good feeling. Love you. Thank you so much, Kimberly. So much love to you and to all of you who participate in these important conversations. They are important conversations. It's our awareness that gets to shift and transform the world. And each of us has a part in that, an important part to play. So I encourage you to check out the other awesome programming on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page, Enlightened World Living, EWN, One with the Earth. And I just have so much gratitude and appreciation for you guys. And I really, really, really look forward to seeing you again here really soon, so that we can have more deep and meaningful conversation. So much love.